Hi, Eddie. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thank you. It's a real pleasure speaking to you this morning. I mean, God knows you've made me laugh a lot over the years. So I've had worse Friday mornings than this.
Hopefully not so much during this film.
No.
I like to measure my, because obviously if you tracked any of my film career, they're all dramas, and sometimes I have one joke in a film which is quite interesting, or that I do rather badly, but I quite like that. But yeah, it's film was my first love before comedy. I like comedy, but I didn't know I could do that. But yeah, I was 7 years old when I wanted to do film, and 15 when I broke into Pinewood Studios.
How did you break in?
Well, I just walked in the front door, so it's breaking. It's a bit loud, but I did find out. I tracked it down. This was the 70s. There was no internet, wasn't even a dream at that point. And if you watch Battle of Britain, at the end, they have a single title card, which says, as it quite often does, but it's slightly unusual because it's not usually right at the end, the first thing you see, but it was filmed on location in Spain and in Britain or England, it says, I think, and also at Pinewood Studios, Iverheath, Bucks. And I was used to, as a kid, I used to write stuff down from the title because I wanted to get into films. And at this age of 14, 15, I was going, this could be useful. What is that? Iverheath Bucks. And I couldn't work out what Iverheath Bucks meant because Iverheath, is that a place? I think that's a place. And what is Bucks? And I didn't know that Bucks was a contraction for Buckinghamshire. But I got a map from W.H. Smith, and it had alphabetically all the towns and cities in the whole of the UK on there. And I just went through and, oh, there it is. Okay. So I took a train from Bexhill-on-Sea, where our film is set, Bexhill-on-Sea all the way to London, tube to Uxbridge, bus to Iverheath, got out and said, is there Pinewood Studios around here, mate? And he said, yeah, half a mile down there. So I marched down there and I tried to get in the front entrance, and they said, piss off, kid, you can't come in here. And I thought, I'll come miles. So I thought that maybe there's another entrance, and there was another entrance, which is now the main entrance. And I noticed that some people were just marching in because they were obviously doing things, and other people were showing credentials. So I thought the marching in trick is what you have to do. So I acted like, I think I was channeling Richard Burton and Clint Eastwood in Where Eagles Dare, going into the Schloss Adler. And they just marched in at that point. And so I marched in and I was in Pinewood Studios. And Spielberg did this at Universal and got his career going pretty damn quickly. But mine took another 15 years to get going. So just a different route. So the fine wine approach to careers is what I've tried to do.
You just said before that you like to put in a little joke even in your dramatic roles. Was there one in 6 Minutes of Midnight?
It's not that I like to put one in. It's more like that sometimes that there was, when I did Treasure Island, there was one joke that I did and I thought, is this my joke? I remember doing it, but it can't be, if there is something funny that's in it, it can't be done like I would do it. It has to be done like the character would do it, like John Silver would do it, which is a different thing. And I have to make sure it's not done like me. Otherwise, it just bounces out. You bounce out the film. So no, I don't put one in. It just sometimes it seems like that. But no, there are no jokes in this one because it's just a thriller. That's what it is.
And a brilliant one at that. I mean, because there's this idea, isn't there, that sort of life before the war was kind of quite rosy. This I always, there's this idea that the day that we kind of announced we were going to war with Germany, that suddenly like a dark cloud just appeared. But actually, the years building up to it were a really tense, challenging few years around Europe, as challenging a time as we've ever faced. Was that quite an interesting thing to explore because it's seldom seen on screen, the years building up to the war?
That's very true. I mean, this school. When people see the film, they'll see this school. The school is like a character in the film. It's called the Augusta Victoria College for Girls, and it was there from 32 to 39 in a seaside town of Bexhill-on-Sea. If people don't know that, it's down Hastings, Brighton, south coast of England, and it's just another seaside town. But it had 26 schools in that town, which is slightly unusual. And one of them was a finishing school for girls. And so these girls were there, and they were just German girls, and they were learning English and being kind of ambassadors, but they were quite linked up. And Himmler's goddaughter was there, and von Ribbentrop, who became ambassador to Britain, his daughter was there, and they were listening to Hitler's speeches on the radio. And this was all building up. As you said, it wasn't necessarily there's going to definitely be a war, but as things got closer, we realized that Hitler, and if anyone had read Mein Kampf, they realized that Hitler was really dead set on having wars again. which nearly everyone else was saying, no, we don't want to do this because we did this just 20 years ago. And so it gradually got closer and closer. And the build-up of that, and we had the black shirts in Britain, Mosley, married to Diana Mitford, who was a member of the aristocracy, and a number of members of the aristocracy were into the Nazis. And Hitler was at their wedding, which, witness at their wedding. So these links were happening. People were linking up. There were right-wing elements in every country. In America, they had Lindbergh, the guy who flew the Atlantic solo. He was very into the Nazis. So this was all under the surface. And then the day it happened, as you said, everything changed, but this had been bubbling up for some time. And this school shows it. It shows what's going on and how people are thinking or acting. And the girls listening to Hitler's speeches, that's true. We know that happened. And the school is still there in Bexhill. The building is still there.
Yeah, one of the fascinating things as well, I think, is at the end of the movie, usually you get a sense of closure or a sense of hope. But in this, you've got the war coming, which I always find it was quite a profound way to end a movie, knowing that it's all still to come in some ways.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was wondering too about, obviously it's easy to draw similarities between recent years, in the rise of Trumpism and to the rise of Nazism. Did you notice as the project was sort of coming on over the last kind of decade that it was growing more and more pertinent as it was sort of nearing its completion?
That is absolutely right. We felt this is kind of ridiculous that it's as if people were saying, come on, let's try the 1930s again. Let's have another go at that. How did it turn out last time? As if some people hadn't read a book or whatever. The idea that Hitler just said, look, we can use facts and in order to get us elected, but why don't we use lies instead? We can just blatantly lie about the Jewish Bolshevik conspiracy that was never there and was always wrong. That the Jews were responsible. They were never responsible for all this stuff. It was just made up fiction. But if you say it again, some people believe in it. And we've seen this happening, the right-wing movements in a number of countries, including our own, and Trump being, Brexit and Trump being these ideas being kind of linked together, that you can just say anything you want, and that's fine now in politics. And it wasn't fine back in the 30s, and it isn't fine now. So, Donald Trump is still not going away. The idea that this can still be going around, this weird merry-go-round, and the conspiracy theories, people jumping into conspiracy theories. As soon as you start saying, yes, things which are lies, I'm going to believe them, then you're lost. You're down this weird rabbit hole of where you're going. And so I think human beings keep repeating themselves. And if you don't learn from history, we know this truth. If you do not learn, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So the worry is that we are not out of the woods now. We are. I think things can get worse before they can get better. And you've got this situation in our film where you see a lesson from history. Young girls at a school, and they were getting beguiled by these ideas because lies can be very beguiling. If you just say, it's nationalism. We are better than anyone else. We can be better than anyone. Just believe in this one person. How could anyone believe in Trump? It just seems staggering to me. How could anyone believe in Hitler? And they did.
Just very quickly, because I know I'm just running over time slightly, but I just wanted to end on a slightly more positive note, which is Dame JUDI Dench. What a bloody woman she is. It must be such a thrill to work with her again. I know she's a good friend of yours, but she is the best.
She is fantastic. She refuses to be a national treasure. What she wants to be is a vibrant human being, and she's going to work forever, and she likes doing films, and she's a young girl at heart. She's still 16 years old. I remember dancing to her as Queen Victoria in the previous film we did, Victoria and Abdul, and me as dressed as Edward VII, dancing to a Ray Charles number, and that was kind of crazy, but that's how she is. So she's wonderful in this, playing Miss Rocholl, who ran the school, and there was a Miss Rocholl running the school. So her story and her journey in this film, along with Jim Broadbent, both Oscar winners in it, who's playing Charlie, who the bus driver, and my granddad was Charlie, who drove a bus. So it's really nice to have these characters in playing real people in a town where I grew up in, Bexhill-on-Sea.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's still got that twinkle in her eyes. But anyway, thank you so much, Eddie. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you this morning, and best of luck with the film's release.
Thank you very much. Great to talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,